Hello, my friend. We haven't met yet, probably. My name is Mark Delaney, and my wife and I created a program called the Purpose Mastermind, and it essentially helps people to do one thing: get their life back. Have you ever wondered what happened to my life? You get up in the morning and you're more discouraged and depleted than anything. You're not really excited about your life. You're frustrated by it. You feel kind of trapped by it. You find yourself struggling with different types of behaviors that you don't want to have. Maybe it's some kind of habit. Maybe it's drinking or overeating or overspending or gambling, but you're doing something that you don't like, but you can't get yourself to stop it. On the other hand, you look at your life and you're like, why does it even matter what I do? Because my life just kind of stinks. So I might as well keep eating and drinking and shopping and gambling. So you get stuck in this trap of what happened to my life and how do I get it back? I have good news for you. I want to draw you a picture and tell you some stories. So a young man in his young 30s came to me recently. I think he was 32. And when he came to me, he said, I don't know how I got here. In the last year, he was drinking very heavily. He had been sent to the hospital once by ambulance because of I think, alcohol poisoning or something like that. But he said, I don't know how I got here. And in taking him through our program, we showed him, and a lot of it I'll show you right here in this picture, how he got where he got. So he's living this life and things are going pretty well. But because of a job change in his life and a relocation where he's living, he lost all of his sense of purpose. He lost his friendships. And now he took on a job that was just stealing the life from him. And so he's stuck in this place where he feels so depleted as a person. He no longer has friends that he hangs out with. He's no longer living with a sense of purpose. And because of this, he ends up living this very different life. It's like he's hiding in this bush, and the person he is in this bush is very different than the person that he was on this path. Let's talk about that path that he's on. This path that he started on was a path of pursuing his heart. Like in his heart, there's things he longs for. There's things that he wants from life. He's in pursuit. He wants his life to kind of simulate what his heart senses. He wants his life and his heart to kind of match up. And that's the good life. But when he lost this kind of life, he ended up in this bush where he feels like he's more trapped in his life. And he ends up going to, in his case, drinking, but basically he's coping. He's doing something to deal with the lack of substance in his life. It's like he needed a substance in his hand because he no longer had substance he sensed in his heart. It's like he needed a substance to put to his mouth because he didn't feel like his life was living out the substance that he wanted in his heart. So this man, through just a number of conversations, we helped him to understand what happened to his life and how to get it back. And it was nothing impossible. And the goal wasn't to stop drinking, by the way. When he got back to his life, he no longer needed to drink. I think of a young man, his name was Jesse. And he sent me an email and he said, since I left high school, I have been struggling with overeating and being addicted to gaming. And I've been, the last 2 years, suicidal and depressed. And he named all these addictions and the ways he felt about himself. And I took him through our program, and I told him, I said, we're not going to talk about your problems. From the very get-go, I said, we are not going to talk about your problems, but we're going to help you get back to the life you're made for. And when you get back to the life you're made for, we'll see what happens to your problems. I'll tell you more in a couple of minutes what we did talk to him about. So let's go back to this picture. Here we have this person that was living this bold life, pursuing the longings of their heart. And now they're living this life where they're just kind of stuck. They feel like they're trapped in their own existence. And the way that feels, it really forces a human being to do something to cope with that. Because how do you deal with your life not being what it's made for? That's a hard thing to deal with. So we end up with all kinds of types of coping that leads to so many behaviors. So we're left with this massive question. This human being that we started out here, wanting to go here, but now we appear to be 1,000 miles off the path of our destiny, if you will, where we were meant to be. And our life looks so messy. Relationships, behaviors, addiction, depression, suicidal thoughts. It looks so messy. The question becomes, how do we get back? If this is a massive wilderness, how do I get back to the life I was made for? You know, I used to be this person in a bush, used to be me. For me, the way that I coped with life was with food. I used to probably weigh 380 pounds, and now I'm on my way down. Most importantly, I'm living out this path life. But I remember the lies that I told myself in that bush. I thought I had to fix my behavior in order to get out of that bush. That bush, to me, it became like a prison. And I thought that I had to fix my behavior to get back to the life I was made for. And that makes a lot of sense. If you wake up every day and your problem is right in your face, these X's right here represent our problems. They are right in our face. And it makes total sense to say, you know what? It's those problems. I have to get rid of those problems. That's my issue, and I have to get rid of them before I can get out of here and get back to my life. How's it work for you? I'll tell you this, until I was 46 years old, I tried to get rid of my problem, to get back to my life, and all it did was cause my problem to get worse. So there's some false methods that people try to get back to their life. Probably the number one false method is to fix my problem first. My friend, that doesn't work. My wife went through this program with a woman who was depressed. She had kids in the house and a husband, and she doesn't get out of bed. She doesn't want to be that person, but she's stuck down here. Her coping is just to sleep and just veg in bed. The more I sleep, I can survive if I just sleep and escape my existence. Sleeping was how she was coping. When my wife Adina met with her, she didn't focus on depression. She didn't focus on, why are you feeling this way? We didn't talk about drugs that she should take. There's a different pathway. The pathway wasn't to stop depression. It was to guide her back to the life she was made for. So the number one mistake we make in trying to get our life back is thinking we have to fix our problem first. What's the number two mistake we make? It's thinking we have to fix our past first. Because if you look at this story, it makes a lot of sense that something happened right here that caused this person to end up in this bad place. So it makes a lot of sense to say, let's focus on this and let's fix what happened back there. And if we fix that, if we unwind it, if we understand it, then I can get back to the life I was made for. And it does not work. The past cannot be unwound. The past can't be figured out. The past can't be fixed. Every hour that I spend studying my past, there's one more hour to study. I can never catch up to my past. Yet I can walk away from my past. Just like I can never fix my problem, but I can walk away from my problem. And there's a pathway for us to get back to the life we're made for, and it's not fixing our problem. It's not fixing our past. Let me tell you what it is. It's finding our purpose. This path that you and I want to be on is the path of our purpose. What I'm made to be in this world. What I am made to be about every day. Why I exist. And when a person begins to take steps toward their purpose, it's amazing. A couple things begin to happen. One is we can look at our problem and realize, wait a second, that thing's holding me back. I can deal with that. Because pursuing your purpose gives you power to face your past and your problems. But without purpose, I have no power to face my past and face my problems. Think about it. If your life feels like you're living in a prison cell, which is not a good existence, you're not happy, you're not fulfilled, you feel stuck. How would it feel if I said, okay, once a week, someone's going to come meet with you and stand outside your prison cell, and they're going to talk to you about your problem? Or once a week, someone's going to come visit you and talk to you about your past. Boy, how much do you look forward to that conversation? This is why for many people, they struggle with going to counseling, different types of therapy, it's the fear and dread of, I have to go deal with all of that stuff. And I get that. It's hard to see a pathway forward when you're living in that prison. And if someone just says, well, we're going to talk about what happened 10 years ago, it's hard to make sense that somehow I'm going to unwind that and it's going to cause me to move forward today. Now, your past and your problems do matter, but I want to show something in this picture that is so paramount to you gaining your freedom for your purpose. I'm going to say it again. I want to draw a simple thing in this picture that is paramount to you gaining your freedom for your purpose. Because, my friend, that comes first. You don't fix your past and then get freedom. You don't overcome your problem and then get freedom. It doesn't happen that way. So this person who's living in this prison cell, that's not the time to talk about the problem in the past. There is a pathway to this person getting out of this prison cell. And once they're out of there and they are taking steps toward their purpose, then we can absolutely have conversations about the past and about a problem like a habit or addiction. We can absolutely have those discussions then. But when someone is in the prison cell, and there's a lot more that I don't have time to unpack with this, but when someone's in that prison cell, conversations about the past and conversations about our problems, all they do is make the prison cell more dark. First of all, the person has to get out of that prison cell and start taking steps toward their purpose. And then conversations about the past, conversations about problems are actually helpful. So the whole point of this short presentation I wanted to give to you was to help you understand maybe what's happened to your life and how do you get it back? Well, the young man I mentioned to you named Jesse, struggling with different types of addiction, struggling with depression, suicidal, wasn't want to leave his parents' house. I told him, we're not going to talk about your problems. I told him, we're going to talk about your purpose. And we spent 8 conversations, 8 weeks, once a week, talking about his purpose. And that young man, slowly over the course of those weeks, began to make different decisions for himself. He was having a hard time before we met, even texting a friend or responding to a friend. Friends would reach out to him and he was too afraid to even respond to a text message. Well, after 3 weeks, he came in for a meeting and he had gone out with his friends to their house, connected with them. After 5 weeks, he was looking for jobs out of state, like not just leaving his parents' house, but leaving the state for a job. He applied. Our 8th week we met, he said he applied for the job. The next week he got the job. A month later, he moves out of state. And the last I talked to him, he's heavily involved in a relationship and thinking about marriage. He's living bold. He's living this path life because we focused on his purpose. How do you get your life back? My friend, you must get reacquainted with your purpose so that you can start stepping toward it. That's your first steps. Your first steps is not fixing your past. It's not fixing your problems. It's reminding yourself of who you are made to be. But to do this, you've got to know your purpose. You've got to know your purpose. I believe that our past speaks so boldly to us. Our problems speak so boldly to us. We must have a purpose that is bigger than those things, that propels us, that empowers us to move forward in life. And as we're moving forward, we can overcome our problems. And as we move forward, we can gain a different perspective on our past. I hope this has been helpful. This picture that I've drawn here, very simple, maybe looking complicated right now, but it's really quite simple. And we guide people through a process of leaving their stuck life and getting back to this bold life they were made for. And we guide people through a process. It's a 9-week process of helping people get out of the lost place, get onto this path of purpose. And then it helps people know how to stay on this path of purpose We finished the group by everyone in the group saying their purpose. And it's powerful. How many human beings know their purpose? Let's face it, the older we get, we become afraid of it. I can't know it. It's too late for me. It's too complicated. I'm afraid of that. I'm afraid I'll never know what it is. My friend, this process is simple, it's guided, it's fun, and it's powerful. And I want to invite you to be a part of this. We're going to do this as an online experience. In my community, my wife and I do this with groups of people face-to-face. We do this one-on-one with couples and with individuals. But we're going to do this experience online. And we're doing this with 20 people. I'm looking for 20 people that want to know their purpose. And if you're interested in that, it's very simple. Simply text the word freedom to this number, 918-401-9608. Text the word freedom, and you'll receive the text messages you need to be able to get the links and the payment links to get a part of this process with 20 people. You're going to have conversations with people. You're going to hear from my wife and I. You're going to hear stories, and there's going to be lots of pictures, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And every week we'll give you practical action steps to take with your real life. And at the end of it, you can be one of the people that can boldly say your purpose, and you'll never have to wonder again. If someone ever asks you what your purpose is, you can say it. And in the process, you're going to find freedom from the things that are holding you back and keeping you in that bush. Now, I'll tell you the price in just a minute. I think you're going to like it. But this process, it's going to take place on Zoom at noon Central Time, beginning June 12th, and it's for 9 weeks. So what is your purpose worth? What's it worth? Knowing your purpose. Knowing your purpose and gaining a new power to overcome your problems and a power to face your past. What's it worth? Well, here's a price I'm putting on for just this group, $600. My friend, I don't even want to sell that, because your purpose is worth probably $100,000, maybe $300,000. So I'm not going to work hard to sell this. I'll simply finish by saying this, my friend, and I mean this with all my heart. You have a purpose. I know you have a past. I know you have problems, but there's something greater in you called your purpose. And I want you to know it so you can pursue it boldly, because your life is made to make a difference. And it's hard to make a difference when you live in that prison cell, just dwelling on your problems and dwelling on your past. I want you to know your purpose, and I want you to walk out of that prison cell, square your shoulders, and live your best bold life. You have a purpose. You can know your purpose, and you can be set free from anything that holds you back from living it out boldly. If you want to spend 9 weeks with me, my wife, and 19 other people going through this program, you're going to love it, I promise. Simply text the word freedom to that phone number, 918-401-9608. You'll get the simple links. You'll get the Zoom link. We're also going to send you in the mail. We have a guidebook that we've produced that we'll send you in the mail that helps guide you through the process. My friend, your life is worth it. If you want to be in, text me right now.